better way to enjoy a fillet of beef than this recipe for beef Wellington. Now here I've got 650 grams of fillet which has been taken from the middle, and this will serve 6 people. To start with, season really well with black pepper. Then put 2 teaspoons of vegetable oil into a large frying pan on a medium heat. Take your fillet and place in the pan, searing the meat for 30 seconds on all sides until the meat has browned. Then remove from the pan and set aside. So while the meat cools, you need to soak 40 grams of porcini mushrooms in 250 millilitres of boiling water until softened. When cool, squeeze out any excess liquid and chop. Reserve the mushroom liquor for later. Next, heat 25 grams of butter using the same pan as your beef and add 500 grams of finely chopped chestnut mushrooms and a handful of fresh thyme leaves. Then add your chopped porcini mushrooms. Cook together for around 20 minutes until golden and the pan is dry. All the moisture should have evaporated. Then leave these to cool completely. To prepare the beef, place 2 large sheets of cling film on a work surface slightly overlapping. Place 6 slices of prosciutto ham on top, overlapping the edges to make 1 sheet large enough to wrap around the whole beef fillet. Spread 3/4 of the remaining mushroom mixture onto the prosciutto and sit the meat on top. Spread the remaining mushrooms onto the meat until covered, and using the cling film, roll the prosciutto round the beef, wrapping it tightly, and put in the fridge to chill for about 10 minutes. Now to prepare the pastry that's going to encase the beef. Take a 500 gram pack of lighter or butterpuff pastry and put 1/4 aside for later. On a floured surface, roll out your pastry into a square or rectangle big enough to wrap the fillet. Approximately 35 centimetre square will do. Carefully trim to neaten. Then roll the edges of the joining sides slightly more so they're thinner. Okay, so now I've removed my beef from the fridge. I need to carefully remove the cling film and place in the middle of the pastry. Brush the edges with some beaten egg, wrap the pastry around the beef, overlapping slightly at the join, and seal and fold up each end like a parcel. Transfer to a lightly greased baking tray, seam side down. You can then roll out the remaining pastry and cut shapes to decorate. Brush the Wellington all over with egg, press on the decorations and brush again. Return to the fridge to chill for a further 20 minutes or up to 12 hours if you have time. Preheat your oven to 230 degrees C, 210 in a fan oven or gas mark 8, and place a baking sheet on the top shelf. To make the sauce for the Wellington, take 200 millilitres of full-bodied red wine and add this to the pan with the reserved mushrooms. Bring to the boil and simmer until the wine has reduced to about 1 tablespoon. Then add 300 millilitres of good quality beef stock along with the porcini mushroom liquid saved from earlier. Make sure you don't pour the sediment that's at the bottom of the bowl into your pan. Boil for 10 minutes until the liquid is syrupy. Season to taste, then stir in 1 teaspoon of butter before setting aside. Now put the Wellington onto the heated baking sheet in the oven and roast for 10 minutes. After this time, reduce the heat to 200 degrees C or for a fan oven 180, gas mark 6. Okay, now you want to cook your Wellington for a further 15 minutes for rare, 20 minutes for medium rare and 25 minutes for medium. Remove the Wellington from the oven and leave to rest for 10 minutes. Meanwhile, heat your sauce through and it will be ready to serve with generous slices of your beef Wellington. A meal fit for a king.